Mr. President, I noticed in your speech you mentioned many times about ASEAN centrality. You review the TAC, which your father signed, that showed the bond of ASEAN. I think the ASEAN centrality is very important, but it's not, we cannot take it for granted. It comes from the ASEAN way, the three principles. First, mutual respect. Second, consensus building. Third, considerate other parties' comfort level. In my words, to put it simply, we can summarize it as three no's: non-intervention, and non-use of force, and non-hyping up hot spots. Only because of these principles strictly followed by ASEAN members and other stakeholders that we have ensured the ASEAN and East Asia at large for a long-lasting peace since the end of the colonial rules in history. So we cherish a lot. I fully agree with you. I support the centrality of ASEAN. And even some professor like Cashion Makboni, he suggests ASEAN is deserved to award a Nobel Peace Prize. I agree with him.
Thank you very much. I think your question is, do you agree with me? So President Marcos,
yes,
please.
My
Thank you very
question
much.
is, President.
The room was charged with tension. President Marcos, leader of the Philippines, sat across from the Chinese general. The issue at hand, the ongoing maritime dispute in the West Philippine Sea. The general's words pierced the air, a blatant disregard for the Philippines' sovereignty. Marcos, though visibly angered, maintained his composure. The incident sent shockwaves through the region, raising concerns about escalating tensions. The general's disrespect towards a democratically elected leader was unacceptable. It underscored the challenges faced by nations like the Philippines in asserting their rights against powerful adversaries. The incident served as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace in the region.
The Philippines somehow tearing apart what we have agreed on with in ASEAN in terms of ASEAN centrality. Quite the contrary. I think if you examine more closely the remarks that I just made, I precisely focus on ASEAN centrality, and that the principles that are laid down that are involved in the concept of ASEAN centrality are some things that we must use to guide us. And if we have been distracted in the past years or so, then it's time for us to return and remember once again what ASEAN was created for. And that is to create an aggregation of nations that have very many common interests, and that can be, and that partnerships within that multilateral organization can help each other and help the region. And so the Philippines is still remains true to the principles that were established and upon which ASEAN was born. And I think, as I said, that many of these things we no longer speak of today, but we must, because they are as relevant today as they ever were, perhaps even more so, because the global situation is a great deal more complicated than it used to be before. I would even go far as to say there is no such thing as a regional issue any longer. We have all experienced the unexpected effects of the war in Ukraine, of the conflict in the Middle East, and all of these. And when we talk about the South China Sea, we have to also remember that the South China Sea is the passageway for half of the world trade. And therefore, the peace and stability of the South China Sea and the freedom of navigation of the South China Sea is a world issue. And that is what I am proposing. And I am saying that yes, it is a regional issue, But we must examine and be part of the discussion. We must include all parties in that discussion, because now it is not just ASEAN member states who are stakeholders, and it is quite easy to see that it is in fact the entire world that have become stakeholders in the peace and stability of our region.
The Philippines' maritime legacy. The Philippines' claims in the West Philippine Sea are deeply rooted in its history and geography, tracing back centuries to when early settlers first navigated these waters. As an archipelagic nation, its people have long relied on the sea for their livelihoods and security. Fishing, trading, and seafaring have been integral to their way of life, shaping their cultural and economic identity. Its maritime heritage shapes its perspective on the current dispute, influencing its policies and diplomatic strategies. The sea is not just a resource, but a vital part of the nation's heritage and future. The Philippines bases its claims on historical treaties, including the 1982 UNCLOS, which provides a legal framework for maritime entitlements. It argues that these agreements clearly define its maritime entitlements in the West Philippine Sea, supporting its stance with historical evidence and legal documentation. The Philippines' stance is not about confrontation, it is about protecting its sovereignty and its people's way of life. Ensuring access to these waters is crucial for the nation's food security and economic stability. The Philippines has consistently asserted its rights in the West Philippine Sea through both peaceful negotiations and firm declarations. It will continue to do so, employing legal and diplomatic means to protect its maritime domain, ensuring that future generations can benefit from these vital waters. The West Philippine Sea dispute is deeply intertwined with broader geopolitical dynamics, making it one of the most complex and contentious regions in the world. The rivalry between major powers, particularly the United States and China, casts a long shadow over the region, influencing not just military strategies, but also economic and diplomatic relations. This competition adds multiple layers of complexity to the dispute, making it difficult for smaller nations to navigate their own paths. The Philippines, for instance, finds itself caught in the middle of this geopolitical tug-of-war, trying to balance its national interests with the pressures exerted by these global giants. It seeks to protect its interests while avoiding entanglement in great power rivalry, a delicate balancing act that requires both strategic foresight and diplomatic agility. The Philippines advocates for a rules-based order in the West Philippine Sea, one that respects the sovereignty of all states, regardless of their size or power. This approach is rooted in international law and aims to provide a fair playing field for all. The Philippines' commitment to a rules-based approach provides a pathway for peaceful resolution, emphasizing the importance of legal frameworks and international agreements. It emphasizes the importance of dialogue and diplomacy in managing the complex geopolitical landscape of the West Philippine Sea, advocating for peaceful negotiations and multilateral cooperation as the best means to ensure stability and security in the region. In a world facing multifaceted challenges, ASEAN's role is more crucial than ever. Its principles of dialogue, consensus building, and respect for sovereignty provide a framework for addressing regional issues. ASEAN's centrality is key to maintaining peace and stability in Southeast Asia. Attempts to undermine ASEAN's centrality or discredit its mechanisms are counterproductive. The organization's rules-based approach is essential for managing disputes and fostering cooperation. The Philippines remains a steadfast supporter of ASEAN and its principles. ASEAN's continued relevance is paramount for a peaceful and prosperous Indo-Pacific. The Philippines will continue to work within ASEAN to address regional challenges and uphold a rules-based order. The Philippines has faced attempts to misrepresent its actions in the West Philippine Sea. Some portray its efforts to uphold its sovereignty as part of a broader geopolitical strategy. The Philippines categorically rejects such interpretations. The Philippines' actions are solely guided by its national interests and its commitment to international law. It remains committed to dialogue and diplomacy as the primary means of resolving disputes. The Philippines believes that peaceful solutions are the only sustainable way forward. The Philippines calls for a return to a rules-based order in the West Philippine Sea. It urges all parties to engage in good faith dialogue and uphold international law. The Philippines firmly believes in the power of dialogue. It remains open to engaging with China and other claimant states to find peaceful and durable solutions to the West Philippine Sea dispute. The Philippines is committed to upholding its sovereignty while seeking avenues for cooperation. The Philippines' commitment to dialogue is not a sign of weakness. It reflects its belief that diplomacy and adherence to international law offer the best hope for a peaceful and prosperous future for all nations in the region. The Philippines will continue to champion a rules-based order, seeking peaceful resolutions and fostering cooperation in the West Philippine Sea. The West Philippine Sea dispute highlights the importance of knowledge and understanding. In a world often swayed by misinformation, it is crucial to seek accurate information and diverse perspectives. Informed citizens are better equipped to engage in constructive dialogue and advocate for peaceful solutions. The complexities of the West Philippine Sea dispute demand careful consideration. By understanding the historical context, legal framework, and geopolitical dynamics, we can contribute to a more informed and nuanced discussion. Remember, in a world where mind matters, will knowledge truly matter? Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the West Philippine Sea dispute. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful analysis on global affairs. Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Let's continue the conversation.